Hi, welcome back. My name is Weekly Shonen, and today we have another Big 2 review instead of Big 3 because JJK is on break, unfortunately. But two, I guess, good setup chapters. I'm not too excited about these, obviously, because we've been getting spoiled with One Piece. We've been getting spoiled of the One Piece chapters beforehand, and also just being spoiled in general as a fandom with the content that we're getting from One Piece. And then as for My Hero and JJK, I mean, JJK has also been delivering back to back to back. My Hero as well is like part of the. It's not at the climax of its war arc yet. I guess neither is Jujutsu Kaisen, but like, there's different reasons to be hyped there. But in terms of My Hero, we're getting a great backstory this week, which is really nice. And although the last chapter was kind of a joke to me, I do kind of enjoy this one. My only problem with My Hero is that it's just not much to talk about. There's not much to speculate. So I'll get that out the way first. My only issue with this chapter was just getting the reveal that Dabi was a spare. Like, he was a spare vessel for Shigaraki, and also it was a failed spare. Because, just the way that his body was made up, it was kind of salvaged from the burn. We got to see All For One kind of pull up on a toasted Shigaraki. Not Shigaraki, toasted Dabi. So knowing that he was a kind of like a spare there, a failed vessel, is disheartening because, hey man, I really thought that he was just this freak anomaly who, hey, once he left the Todoroki house, he kind of just became stronger. Like, his flame became so strong. But no, it's not the case. He was saved by Dr. Garaki. Clearly, they had plans for him, other different plans for him. Got the reveal that, hey, the way that they kind of saved him was similar to how the Nomu process is, which is kind of cool because, we do get that advanced Nomu, that high-end Nomu introduction via Dabi, right? He's the one who brings it to the town. Other than that, like, that's like my only... Well, there's two issues I have with this chapter. The first issue is that, just learning that he's a spare. The second issue is this brolic-ass sunflower like that. That is really weird to look at. Like, I thought that was a mask at first, and no, it just seems to be a quirky guard, and that was really uncomfortable to look at. But it was a fun chapter, right? It's clearly set up for their fight, right? We have to have the introduction to their fight. It can't just be like, how the introductions to the other fights were, which were like the one-shot pages of, hey, here's the setups, here's the setup for the remainder of the war. Here's the matchups that we can expect. It needed more of an introduction, and we kind of got that with Dabi's backstory too. Like, it's a 2-in-1 because we get the parts of Dabi's backstory that we didn't have before, like those gaps filled, and then on top of that, it's a setup for, like, their actual fight. It's part of their fight as well, right? We don't have to wait for them to go back and forth. Like, I think they've yet to trade blows yet. So they've yet to trade blows yet. They haven't traded blows. So to see this, like, all this, I guess, what's the word that I'm looking for? These loose ends tied up before the fight's even begun is really nice. Because now we can just get to the action. We can get to the talk no jutsu. We can have, Shoto there just doing his best to save his brother, which I don't think he will. Like, I think the way that this fight ends is Dabi dying, because he's already, like, shown that he's gonna go full kamikaze. He's already, revealed to be just living off of willpower. So the second that his will is done, he's done. So I think that this fight ends with Shoto, like, trying to save him with ice or something like that, because I think that Dabi's confirmed to be resistant to ice, not fire. That's why he burns himself every time. So maybe Shoto does his best to try to save him with ice. Has to, watch his brother die, and in his final moments, Dabi's just like, oh, like, he comes to the light. He like reveals, like, hey, I was just trying to save you. I really did think of our dad as, like, the worst person in the world. That's why he's referring to him as an it, right? And so I was basically just trying to save you by killing you. Like some warped brotherhood type of thing, right? Where he's like, yo, I just couldn't see you turning out the way that I turned out, so I needed to end that lineage then and there. Because, like, until now, we've only had Dabi as like a spiteful, resentful type of failed experiment, right? So to see that happen, think at the end, like Dabi kind of like coming to understand, not coming to understand, it was just like kind of expressing his reasons for doing what he did would be very helpful, I think. And what else do we got here? Yeah, I mean that's basically what we got. He's like gonna use the flash fire fist, which is that might be the end of the fight right there, right? Like that's like a huge move on like for even Endeavor, and Shoto just learned it. So the fact that Dabi's about to use that with his blue flame, like he might just burn to a crisp right now, and that might be the end of the fight. If that is, like, it would make sense, but it would be so funny that I would be somewhat disappointed in that, because it's like that we just got the flashback immediately, which is cool because you kind of cut through the cut a corner there, but like, you know, you cut through it nicely, efficiently. That's the word I'm looking for, efficiently. But at the same time, it's like, damn, this fight was over in a second. That's so annoying. But yeah, it's pretty much all I got. Like, there's the moment where Dr. Garaki's talking to the gorilla prisoner, or the prison guard, and the guy like tries to dismiss him, and he's like, nah, don't even talk. Well, like his curiosity takes over, so he's like, okay, like just tell me a little bit more. You're gonna tell me that, you know, that AFO is, you know, he's had this all planned all along? No, that's not what we get. Dr. Garaki is just like, nah, he had no use for it. But it's like a good reason, right? It's not just like Shigaraki was a failed experiment. It's that, you know, AFO kind of realized, I need to live forever. I need a vessel who wants to live forever, not a vessel who's trying to, you know, burn himself out. Which is kind of funny considering what we're getting from One Piece these last few weeks. And I guess that's my transition there. Like, I don't really have any predictions for My Hero. I think we've got everything pretty much laid out, right? There's not much to predict with My Hero other than like the outcomes of the fights. But in terms of what's happening next, we kind of know what's supposed to happen next, right? We got all the matchups there. We're just gonna be shifting between all of them. Yeah, like maybe something new happens. Maybe, you know, Deku pops up on one of the fights he's not supposed to be at. But I doubt it. I think he's straight shooting for Shigaraki, and once he gets there, it'll be like a dire situation. I feel like we'll have to have Shigaraki versus Deku 1v1. It can't be no like the Alliance versus him. So I think in terms of like predictions that could go south, I think that probably be the closest thing, right? It's just we don't get a 1v. We don't get 1v1s, because why would we? I don't know. That's the thing with My Hero. It's just, like I said, it's hard to really speculate there. It feels like everything is really laid out for us. We don't know exactly what's gonna happen, how things are gonna happen, but generally we understand, you know, with the way that Horikoshi kind of structures his arcs. It's like, okay, we know what we should expect next to happen. So that's pretty much it on that front. Wow, that was a whole 8 minutes. That was really nice. There's a lot to talk about. I really thought there was. Moving on to One Piece 1046. Now, this chapter starts off with Kaido basically explaining to Luffy how awakening works, or explaining to us how awakening works, which is basically your mind is caught up with your body and your ability. You know, your mind is in sync now with everything, which is cool because I think that still relates to Haki in some way, because Haki's all about the willpower and you know, training the mind and whatnot. So the fact that the awakening is happening through that, through, like, I guess like not the same vehicle because it's not through Haki, but through the same kind of mindset, right? Just training your mind to adapt with your ability and everything, and your strength or whatever. It's like, that makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. And I just like that it's kind of like a training arc for Luffy at this point. Like, the same way that the Katakuri was kind of like the way for Luffy to train his observation, it's, you know, Kaido's being used to train Luffy's, not only his Conqueror's Haki, but also his awakening. And I like that a lot, because it's kind of, Kaido's like a trifecta in terms of training, right? We got the observation through Katakuri, and the arc started off with Luffy training his advanced armament, and then it became, you know, using advanced armament with Conquerors, so training his Conquerors, advanced Conquerors, and then now it's like training his awakening. So like Kaido is really like, he doesn't have to do much else. He's done so much for Luffy's growth already. It's like he's just, with every chapter it feels like he's the perfect villain. Like he's hasn't even had a flashback yet. Like he's had parts of his flashback, like, you know, we can make many predictions on like what the rest of Kaido's flashback will be, but like we haven't even gotten like a solid one whole chapter dedicated to Kaido yet and understanding who he was, or like him talking about what he was. Yet we have more than enough to understand that he's top 3 greatest villains in the whole series, right? Unless Shanks becomes a villain. No. I think he's really well fleshed out already. And we do get tidbits, right? So we got a couple of things with King's fight versus Zoro. So got a couple flashbacks there, which is what most of the community is going off of. Kaido's introduction is the second thing, right? We got, he's suicidal. He has a drinking problem. And then during this fight with Luffy, we have a little like, some of their dialogue is just Kaido basically saying, look, I have regrets. I'm losing everything right now. Like, the drunk Kaido was like, kind of a joke form of that. But like this chapter, he literally says like, look, everything that I've worked towards, everything that I've built is being destroyed right now. Whether that was by, plan, maybe if Kaido was like, yo, I forget who it was that predicted that. It might have been Morge or Joy Boy. I can't remember who, but it was the prediction that Kaido was actually trying to set up the Joy Boy's return by like activating all the slavery stuff, coming to Wano specifically, knowing that Joy Boy would pop up at Wano in 20 years or something like that. All speculation, but like the idea is that Kaido built this entire empire for Joy Boy to destroy. That I think is crazy, if so, and if that's actually the case that we get this reveal during his full flashback, then I'm gonna need to know why. Like, I think that the biggest factor there would be why, because if it's just like, no, he wanted to be Joy Boy and he decided he wasn't going to be, so he was gonna set up Joy Boy's return, then what was the reason for that? Why would he not just go madman? Why would he not just go depressed? Like, why is it that he's super depressed and still setting this up? I think that would be a great reveal. But yeah, again, I think the why needs to be on point there. Speaking of whys that need to be on point, I think the whole Raizo water thing, I said long ago that I did not like it. I did not like the idea of Raizo just saving the day, randomly spawning water. It was whack to me. But the way that it's done, and I also said this before, I trusted Oda. The way that it's done, I don't mind actually. Like, if it was just him popping a ninja scroll and activating all this water, then that's like really like, oh, like we set up all these stakes for nothing. But we still have stakes, right? We still have, Onigashima still has to be saved, right? We have Momo there. He still has a role to play. Zunisha could have easily done this, right? Zunisha could have just spread water on everything, but that's not the case. Zunisha, the water that Zunisha has actually transported to Zo via the bath is what's being used. So Zunisha's still at play here. The water's being spread through Jinbei, and it's called the Elephant Bath. Like, it's still Raizo saving the day, but the way that he's saving the day isn't like he's like bearing it all on himself. It's like, he does have his own reasons for it, right? Which has been set up during the fight, right? It's been set up during Odin's flashback. You get Raizo's the only one who complains about the heat. You get the Fukurokuju fight, which was the most annoying thing to read, right? That's when I started to really dislike this idea of Raizo saving the day, or when he left and he was like, I have a plan. Like, that's when I really started to dislike that. But I dislike that. But I think yeah, like the way that it's being handled right now, he's got his motivations, he's got teamwork, and he's got influence from Zunisha. It's enough, it's dispersed enough for me that I actually do enjoy the reveal now. And again, like I said, there's still stakes, right? So Luffy still has to win. Luffy, another thing that adds to that is like Luffy's, I guess his faith, or like his faith in his crew and the alliance, because they have faith in him. He's gonna win, so he has to have faith in them that they're gonna handle everything else. It's like that part, I believe, in Alabasta. Was it Sanji? Either Sanji or Zoro talking to Chopper, and he's just like, you do the things that you're good at, and I'll do the things I'm good at. Luffy's good at fighting the big boss. Everyone's good at handling the rest of the mess. So the fact that Luffy's so confident here is great, and also helps out because we go straight to Raizo after that. Now, do I want to talk about No. First of all, let me say, I think that this water thing is really clever because it's gonna wash out every devil fruit user, which, that means every devil fruit user who's like, part of the alliance is like, a turned over smile user, right? So they're gonna probably be washed out. They're gonna be like weak after this. The ones who aren't, like the ones on our side, like Law and Eustace and all that stuff, they just had a fight anyway, so they're already out of commission. But as for the other side, you got King and Queen and the Tobiropo. If they get washed out with the seawater, then that kind of like keeps them down for the count a little bit longer, right? There's a huge worry in the community as well. We get all these awakened zones, and they're beaten so easily or so quickly. And I guess both, right? You can say that they were defeated so easily and quickly, and they're supposed to come back. That's part of the thing of being an awakened zone, is that you're supposed to come back right away, and you got to expect, the beast pirates who are all zones, the commanders, the top people have to be awakened. So why aren't they coming back? This would be a good reason to have them not come back, right? Y'all just got hit with sea stone, with some seawater, and it's your biggest weakness. So you got to stay down for a little bit longer, right? Because it's supposed to be a 5-minute timer. Like if that keeps them down for 5 more minutes, that makes all the sense in the world to me. I'm not going to be upset at that, right? Because you got to remember that this is a 5-minute timer. It's not in our time, so 5 minutes can mean 30 chapters from now. So I hope not, but it could. Maybe we're already working on like 20 chapters since the 5-minute timer was given. I have to go back and reread that, but yeah. I like that a lot. I like this dynamic kind of working. And also, we still get more Momo. We have Momo and Yamamoto together now. Yamamoto's there to like kind of guide Momo and be like, yo, stop being a little softy, grab these flame clouds, and do the thing. Like there's still work to do. We've just saved the day down here. Luffy still has to save the day up there, and you have to save the day way down there in the flower capital. So, man up. So it's great that Yamamoto's there instead of like, yelling at him from distance. It's just like, no, she's there with him. She's gonna, hopefully, right? Like they were reacting to everything last chapter. Hopefully, like Yamamoto points Momo in the direction of Luffy grabbing lightning, and is just like, yo, you see what this man is doing with lightning? Can you not do that with flame clouds? Just do that really quick, and we'll be okay. Now, in terms of Luffy grabbing lightning, that is the wildest thing I think he's done in his awakening. Like, I don't know if that's through his awakening, where he's like rubberifying like, the clouds themselves or the lightning, so he's able to grab it, or it's just because he's rubber, he is able to like, just grab lightning. I don't know what that is, but Kaido's clearly enjoying it, right? He's there, they're both smiling, which kind of makes the case for both of them being different versions of Joy Boy. I guess you can, also make the argument this is one of Fate's crossroads again. If maybe anyone has the ability to be a type of Joy Boy, but I mean, not, because Zunisha would be like, would have probably mentioned something like that. But like the idea that Kaido's like this warped version of Joy Boy is kind of cool now, because they're still smiling. Kaido either has a trick up his sleeve, or like he's just accepting death and he's just like finally happy. Like the fact that Kaido's enjoying this fight makes me very happy, because that man it's all he's asked for was a great fight. Maybe the enslavement of all of Wano too, but as for what I'm counting, all he's asked for was just a great fight, and so I can appreciate that, and so I hope he gets it. Now, does he have something up his sleeve? I don't know. I really don't know, right? It's either one of two things. Either he has awakening, right, and he's about to show us something that's even wilder than anything Luffy's already done, or we get the sad reveal that awakening just means Kaido's able to do hybrid form, and he's super durable, and since he's already the strongest creature and he has like such a strong mythical zone, then the enhanced durability that he gets from awakening is tenfold or something like that, because we still haven't gotten that, and at some point we're gonna have to get that. It's not Luffy saying that he's like almost out of steam, So if he's almost out of steam and then Kaido awakens, or he shows us like a different like thing in Awakening, then, you know, it's gonna be hard to think that Luffy's gonna win after that, unless Kaido's like, this is my last move. He's like, you know, similar to Kid in Law, where he's like, once I activate Awakening, I'm already like kind of beat up already. So once I activate this, it's gonna take so much out of me that I kind of have a couple of attacks left in me. And then Luffy's like, all right, cool, I just need to endure that. And then it kind of ends in like almost a draw, right? Again, I did say that this was gonna end in a draw, so I have to kind of die on that hill. But I don't know. Like we're like compared to like the narration boxes that we've gotten, you know, we've gotten like the whole like winner, top of the Skull Dome, Kaido. I guess we have to have another one, winner Luffy, like round 2 Luffy. Which would be funny if Oda says that, right? He's just like round 2, and we know that's definitely not round 2. I feel like Oda's been talking to us for some time now, right? Like that first, second page that we got was like, who are you? And while Zunisha's like, oh, Joy Boy's back. It's Joy Boy, it's Joy Boy, it's Joy Boy. Kaido's like, who are you? And Luffy's like, I'm Monkey D. Luffy, the guy who's gonna become King of the Pirates. Like he's still himself. And I feel like that's Oda just kind of confirming to the fandom, hey, I know he's like got this whole god fruit and he's like supposed to be this like reincarnation, but like, hey, he's still Luffy. He's still Luffy no matter what, which is good reassurance, right? And that's a good way to, that's a good PR move. So that's pretty much all I got. I think in terms of what I would like to see, a flashback. I mean, that's probably the only other wild thing that Kaido can bring out is like a flashback and kind of give us some context. He hasn't really said anything about Luffy's form other than like, you know, saying, hey, this looks like a mythical zone awakening. Like he hasn't alluded to knowing exactly what Luffy's fruit was. So I'm still liking the idea of Luffy's fruit being at God Valley, but not really being like mentioned, like maybe like being noticed or something like that, but like not being the cause for the fight, obviously. But just being there at God Valley, and it's just like, that's where we get the origin of that fruit. Like it popped up again 30 years ago, whenever God Valley happened. And so like, you know, it's just been, you know, around sort of, you know, that was the last time like it came out the sea or something like that. But yeah, I think the wildest thing that we can get out of Kaido right now, if not awakening, if not a wacky dacky awakening, would probably be, you know, at least a full chapter flashback, just so we can, you know, confirm some things that we've already been, you know, theorizing about him. And as for that, man, some Zoro. That's all I want to see. I know he's probably not going to wake up until like we're on the way to Elbaf or something, but I really would rather have a whole King of the Hell speech or King of Hell speech than a whole Nothing Happened Part 2. Like I need to know what he went through, and you know, that has to happen like when he wakes up or something like that. When they're like, yo, dude, your heart literally stopped. How are you alive right now? He's like, oh, you know, I actually fought the devil. And everyone's like, shut up. And he's like, y'all don't believe me. I try to tell you, like, y'all don't believe me. But yeah, definitely some more Zoro. Sanji's awake. You know, the crew is basically all awake except for Zoro. So yeah, some like, now that the water's there, everything's kind of been washed away, and most of the crew isn't doesn't use devil fruits anyway. We can kind of get like a regroup situation. You know, the flames are done, the Ice Oni stuff is done, the Toby Roppo are out of commission. You know, everyone can kind of, you know, regroup at this point and then just kind of look up and wait for Luffy. Or maybe they all go to cheer Momo on, right? You know, they hop on his back and they're like, yo, dude, we're gonna do everything to help you out. Just still grab these flame clouds. Even if it's not doing enough, we will like kick the hell out of the island or something like that and try to like, you know, help you keep it away. That'd be pretty cool. I know that someone, was it Randy? Maybe Randy, talked about how we might get like a full Straw Hat versus Kaido. That'd be cool. Like if Kaido awakens and then it's like a little bit too much for Luffy, then, you know, the Straw Hats step in or something like that. But, you know, I don't see like another 10-minute thing that we get with Gear 4 where like Luffy's like, oh, I'm out of commission for 10 minutes. Can you just hold it down? Like, I can't see that happening, especially in this Gear 5th thing. I feel like once he's out for the rest of the arc. So, you know, unless, you know, we do get this like, you know, expansion or I guess like, you know, this reveal that, hey, Luffy's actually perfect for this fruit because, or Luffy's perfect for like, you know, awakening and stuff like that because, you know, he can you know, expand his heart or something like that. He can keep his heart beating manually, which is why he has not died yet. He's like, you know, depleted, but he's also to bring himself right back. It seems like that's what we got, right? He's like heartbeat, you know, at a different beat. So I think so long as he can keep doing that to himself, and then like maybe slowly bring himself down, and like, you know, out of gear 5, and then just like bring himself back to, you know, base Luffy and keep his heart pumping at a regular rate, get the chopper, stuff like that, he'll be okay. But I don't see that happening this fight. I think I see him, you know, full on going, all right, cool, it's over, I'm done, going to sleep, bye. And then, you know, we get that whole wrap up at the end of the arc. But it's pretty much all I got. Yeah, the gnats are coming. The gnats are here. We have to spray. That's all I got though. That's One Piece is unfortunately on break next week. We have to wait 2 weeks for the flashback chapter if it does come next chapter. And luckily JJK is back next week, so, and I don't think My Hero's on break either, so still gonna have 2 to cover. I'm very glad at that point. Yeah, that's all I got. My name is Weekly Shonen, and I think you should go outside and enjoy this Sunday. It's supposed to be really nice outside this week. So like, you know, have fun out there, be safe, and, you know, have a wonderful day.